business heading into 2009 to do business. And part of the challenge when we talk about positioning is that it always seems like a strange idea. It always seems like quite a cerebral idea. Like it's some sort of a notional idea. And in fact, it's quite a physical idea when we think about it, that notion of positioning. If you find me the right place to stand, I'll move the world. And there's a glorious arrogance in that, isn't there? That notion that if you found him the right place to stand in the world, he'd move it. Well, even a chocolate bar can find the right place to stand and move the world. Even a humble bar of chocolate can sell hundreds of millions of euro worth of chocolate by being positioned in the right place. The sole purpose of a brand, and don't let anybody tell you any otherwise, the sole purpose of a brand is to influence choice. It's to make you the natural choice of your customer at a particular point in time. The purpose of a brand is to present what you have to offer as the right choice. We buy on the basis that it makes sense. If it makes sense, we buy. If it doesn't make sense, we don't buy. So our job as marketers, as business owners, is to make sense of our offer to our customers so that we're the natural choice. So what is a brand? In many respects, brands can work as uniform. If you're in a business or in an area where it's simply important that you walk the talk and you behave as people expect you to behave, brand as uniform can work. So one of the first priorities for us as a business in positioning ourselves in our markets is to behave in the way that people expect somebody in that profession to behave. Am I behaving like an IT expert, or am I behaving like an IT enthusiast? If my customer is looking for an expert, don't sound like an enthusiast. If he's looking for an enthusiast, maybe you shouldn't be sounding like an expert. What you say about yourself can often start to be communicated on to others ahead of you, whereas now it's part of your reputation. It's not just about what you say about yourself, it's about what others start to say about you. It's the word about where you come from, what you do, travelling out ahead of you. And again, those of you with serious aspirations to position yourselves in your market should ask yourself, what sort of a reputation are we creating? What are other people likely to say about us? So what we suggest at Island Bridge as a practical example of how you can use a brand is that a brand in many respects stands for the relationship that exists between the business and its customers. Start looking at your brand in terms of what it says about the relationship between you and your customer, that core exchange. And you can't go too far wrong in your business if you put the core exchange with your customer at the heart of it. So step one, roll up your sleeves and commit to a relationship with your customers. Not with the idea of your customer, not with the notion of a buyer, not with some sort of a spreadsheet. Actually look out past it and commit and ask yourself what your customers want. Second step, find your voice and begin to tell your story. That may sound a bit fanciful. How do we begin to tell our story? You've got to link your story, no matter how ordinary you feel your story is, you've got to link your story with those of your customers so that they return again and again to hear you tell it. And we often underestimate this. Third practical step, find your position and own it. That can seem very daunting in the big bad world where there are hundreds of other companies vying for attention of your customers. Don't be a small fish in a big pond. Create your own pond and be the only fish in it. That's not as difficult to do as it sounds. How many of us here need to own the whole market? Probably nobody here, including ourselves, needs to own the whole market. You just need to own a proportionate. So hive that off and be the big player in that particular space. Be seen as an expert. This is linked to the previous one. Publish, speak, share expertise, give away information, become the go-to company in your circle. You can do that at every level, even if the knowledge and expertise you have isn't unique. You can still be somebody who's seen locally, in your own area, in your own network, in your own environment, as the person to turn to when we need information on that. Build resources and make them widely available to others. Finally, build a network, develop prompted word of mouth and give people lots of things to say about you. And particularly what you want to give them is plenty of testimonials that play to the sense of happy ever afters. Again, that ties back into linking your success to that of your customers. Tell other people how pleased you are to see your customers enjoying success thanks to their choice of your product, your service. So the 5 steps, very quickly. Commit to a relationship with your customers, find your voice and tell your story, find your position and own it, be seen as an expert, and build a network. That will not cost you money, that will cost you time and energy, and most of all, it will cost you attention. So good luck to you all. Thank you for your time this afternoon, and I'd like to hand you over.